I turned 40 this year and I decided it's time for me to retire. I haven't worked a 9-to-5 job in about a year, and no, it's not about a wealthy husband or some overnight success. That's not my story. But here is what might surprise you. When I first started, I wasn't earning six figures. I wasn't some financial genius. I was just tired. Tired of waking up to an alarm, living paycheck to paycheck and wondering if I'd ever have real freedom. So if you've ever felt stuck, like no matter how hard you work, you're not actually getting ahead, you're not alone. I was right there with you. They say money can't buy happiness, but trust me, money can very well buy freedom. A freedom is the soul where happiness grows. I never wanted wealth for the sake of luxury, not for yachts or handbags. What I wanted and what I built was the freedom to choose how I spend my days, to choose who I answer to choose a life that feels aligned instead of one that feels imposed. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to share exactly how I made early retirement possible and how you can begin planting those seeds too, because if freedom is what you're after, this is where it starts. And here's something we don't talk about nearly enough: how deeply financial independence impacts your happiness. Because how can you truly feel happy if you're trapped, whether it's a job you dread or a relationship where you've lost your voice? If you don't have the money to walk away, you stay stuck, dependent on a boss, dependent on a partner, and slowly you start to lose yourself. You've been conditioned to believe retirement happens at a certain age, 65, 67, like there's some magical moment when you're finally allowed to live life on your terms. But who decided that? Most people never question it because it's been repeated so often it feels like truth. But that message was created by a system that was never built for your freedom. Retirement isn't about age, it's about income. Specifically, having enough money coming in each month to support your lifestyle without needing to clock in ever again. There are two ways to get there. One, wait decades, rely on a pension and hope it's enough. And two, build income-producing assets, investments, businesses, digital products. These create passive income, which means money flows in without trading your time for every penny. Now I know the economy feels like a roller coaster right now. Prices are rising, news is chaotic, the future feels uncertain, and I get it. Thinking about investing when you're just trying to keep up can feel overwhelming. But here's the truth most people won't say: the sooner you start, even with a small amount, the sooner you begin building your escape route from the job you hate, from the life that doesn't fit, and towards the freedom you actually deserve. So, how do you do it? How do you actually retire early? Well, the formula is surprisingly simple. Earn more than you spend. Invest the difference into assets that generate monthly income. And then you grow those assets until they fully cover your living costs. That's it. It sounds simple because it is, but simple doesn't mean easy. The very first thing I had to do was to get a handle on my money. And when I began this journey a few years ago, I'll be honest, I wasn't a financial expert. I didn't come from wealth, but what I did have was a deep desire to learn, to break free, and that was enough to begin with. I couldn't picture myself investing at that stage. It felt like something other people did, people who were raised with financial know-how, who understood these terms instinctively. Certainly not me. But if you want to understand finance, you have to be proactive. You have to teach yourself, and that's exactly what I did. Over the past few years, I immersed myself in everything from investment strategies to mindset shifts, and I'll be honest with you, taking that first step, well, that was the hardest part. It's so easy to stay in the comfort of research mode, endlessly scrolling, consuming information while avoiding action. We tell ourselves we're just being cautious, but what we're really doing is delaying growth. Mistakes will happen. Of course they will, but the longer you wait, the longer you postpone the lessons those mistakes are meant to teach you. And without those lessons, the freedom you're craving remains just out of reach. With each new insight, I grew more confident. I began asking what some might call dumb questions, except I stopped feeling embarrassed about it, because here's the truth: the only thing keeping most people from understanding money is the fear of looking uninformed. In fact, I often think some people really deliberately make finance seem more complex than it is. Maybe because they profit from that confusion. The more mystifying the language, the more we rely on them to manage our money for us, don't we? At that time, I desperately wished for a role model, not a polished advisor or Wall Street type, just a real woman who started from scratch and figured it out one step at a time. Most of the voices I came across were men, knowledgeable, yes, but hard to relate to. And when you don't see yourself in the person teaching you, well, it's easy to feel like this world isn't for you. That's exactly why I started this channel, to be the voice I wish I had when I was starting, to show you that it's never too late to learn. So if you're serious about financial freedom, the first step is surprisingly simple. Know exactly how much it costs to live your life, monthly, clearly, without judgment. You can't build freedom if you don't know what you're aiming for. And that's why I've tracked my spendings for years. Not because I love numbers, but because clarity brings power. And when you know your expenses, you can plan your future, your investments, your retirement, your independence. Or whether you use an app or a spreadsheet. By the way, I've made one for you, link in the description down below. The point isn't to restrict your life, it's to understand it. And once you see where your money is going, you'll see where it shouldn't be going. Because cutting small unnecessary expenses isn't just about saving money, it's about saving time. Every careless swipe delays your freedom, and every pound you keep, well, that's potential to invest in something that pays you back months after months. Now that you've taken control of your spending, it's time to step into the next phase, investing. And here's something most people won't tell you. Leaving your money in a traditional savings account is actually costing you. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But let me explain. There are two ways this happens. First, inflation. Right now, inflation is hovering around 5 to 7%, depending on where you live, in the US, in the UK, across much of the world, honestly. What this means in real terms is that your money is quietly losing its value. That £100 or $100 sitting in your account today, well, it won't buy you the same basket of goods a year from now, and that erosion adds up year after year. Just to give you an example, a $100,000 salary in 2020 now has the same buying power as $124,353 in October 2025, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's a 25% drop in value, meaning your money buys less today than it did 5 years ago. This statistic is a wake-up call, so if your income hasn't risen with inflation, you're effectively earning less than you were in 2020. Just think about it for a moment. Second, and perhaps more importantly, you're missing out on what I like to call the true magic of money, compound growth. When you don't invest, your money isn't working for you. But when you do invest, every pound, every dollar becomes like a quiet little employee, working tirelessly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to earn you more. No breaks, no complaints, just steady compounding returns. That's how you begin to build true wealth. For me, the path to financial independence came through real estate. Now, there's plenty of debate around whether it's better to invest in property or in the stock market, and truly there is no one-size-fits-all answer. But what I personally love about rental properties is this. Even if the housing market dips, the rental income keeps coming in month after month, predictable, reliable. My first real estate investment wasn't glamorous, not by all means. It was a flat in a relatively old building. Now, I'll be honest, buying your first property is often the hardest step. You'll worry about making mistakes, and you probably will. But that's how we learn. What matters is that you take action, because clarity and confidence come through doing. And if you'd like to dig deeper into exactly how I started investing in property with less than 10K, I've written a book just for you. It's called Practical Guide to Real Estate Investing Under 10K. The link in the description. Inside, I share the steps and the strategies that helped me build real estate income from the ground up with no fancy connections or massive capital. And the longer you wait to buy your first property, the longer it will take to gain the experience you need to make your next move. A move that could very well be your first best investment yet. Yes, of course, you must do your research and understand the market, but let's be clear, the goal of your first property isn't to strike gold. It's not about finding a perfect deal or securing an extraordinary return right out of the gate. It's about putting your toe in the water, learning by doing, and having the courage to make small, manageable mistakes. Mistakes that teach you, not break you. Because let's be honest, the best way to get good at anything is to simply begin. And after I purchased my very first rental property, I'll never forget the feeling of that first rental payment landing in my account. It was calm, it was satisfying, and it was addictive in the best possible way. I made a decision right then and there. I would keep going, I would keep investing, and I would build something lasting. And here's something else that truly accelerated my journey. I moved. I had been living between Canada, Finland, and the UK, constantly moving from one place to another. The cost of living was high, the stress was even higher, and it became clear to me that if I wanted more freedom and peace of mind, I needed a change. So I relocated to Germany, and for the first few years I explored Frankfurt and Berlin, and then to my surprise I decided to move to the countryside. Germany may not be the cheapest country in Europe, but it offers something incredibly valuable: stability, infrastructure, and the high quality of life at a much more reasonable cost than where I was before. The healthcare system, the public transport, and access to culture and nature all played a role in my decision. But most importantly, Germany gave me the space to enjoy the life I had worked so hard to build. Was I scared? Well, of course, but it gave me so much leverage. I was put into the environment where I had to learn everything from scratch, including language. And oh boy, it really gives me that unfair advantage, because at the end of the day, it's not just about money. It's about creating a life that feels aligned with freedom, choice, and grace. And there you have it, my journey to early retirement, step by step. I truly hope this video has given you not only clarity, but confidence. It's entirely possible for you too. You just need the right mindset, a clear plan, and the courage to begin. Remember, this isn't about getting rich quickly or chasing flashy things. It's about designing a life where you have the power to choose, where you're not tied to a job you don't like or circumstances that don't serve you. It's about peace, freedom, and independence on your terms. And if you're ready to take that next step and you'd like to go deeper into real estate, especially if you're working with a modest budget, I've put everything I've learned into a practical, no-nonsense guide. Practical guide to real estate investing under $10,000. It's the guide I wish I had when I started, and I wrote it with you in mind. And if this video resonated with you, do give it a like. It really helps others to find this content. And if you haven't already, I'd be so honored if you subscribe and join our growing community of women building elegant, empowered lives. To learn more on how to start your financial journey, click on this video right here.